Hello students, today we are going to see this new chapter open source concepts. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to learn about needs of open source softwares, NS2 and its users, Open uh, NMS and group which created Open NMS and open source hardwares. Okay, so these are all the topics that we are going to cover in this chapter. So before going into that, what is mean by open source? Open source is a software. Open source software is a software that will be available on the internet for free. You can download it and install it in your computer without any payment. Okay, and you can also change the software as you like. Okay, so the source code of the application will be available to you. You can change whatever you want to change, and you can do whatever modification of the source code as you wish. Okay, so this is open source software. So you have learned about this in a detail in the previous year. So here you can see that why it is called open source software. So open source simply refers to making the source code of the software freely available for the user and other developer to use it and make changes into the ordinary original repository or fork the project into build a new one. Okay, you can take the project and change it and to make it as a new project. Okay, um, open source software is usually created and updated by many programmers around the world and made freely accessible. Proprietary software is called by owned by an organization or an individual. The maker of the proprietary software no have not allowed to use or uh, the proprietary software is not allowed to make any changes in the source code. It allows only the user to use the source code. But the advantages of the proprietary software is that it gives more control, support, training, security, and stability for the user, making the software reliable to the user. In the network, it is very easy. It is not easy to find problems, especially when there are more systems are connected. The complexity is more. Okay, when the count of the system is more in a network, then the network admin finds difficult to manage all the computer. Okay, so we need network softwares to control, analyze the server, system protocol, network traffic flow, and report about ups and downs of the network parts. So a notification helps the user and administrator easily find working status and network systems and hardwares. Alert message give details of faults, uh, where and when it happens. So this kind of open source software is available for the network also. So we are going to see this open source network softwares to manage your network. So the first thing is uh, NRCFA, NRCFOSS, okay, National Research Center for Free and Open Source Softwares is an institution of Government of India to help to develop FOSS in India. FOSS means free operating system software. Okay, free and open source softwares. Okay, so this organization is creating an operating system, which is known as Bharat operating system solution. Okay, Bharat operating system solution. So this operating system developed in India by CDAC. Okay, so Center for Development of Advanced Computing helps to promote the user of open source software in India. It supports many Indian languages. Okay, so types of open source license. Okay, so this Apache license 2.0, BSD 3 class new or revised license. So these are all the list of softwares that are available on the internet in open source licensing. Okay, so here you can see that this is the history of open source softwares. So it was first here you can find the difference between open source and free softwares. Okay, so what is meant by free software? So free software is a software that is given to you. You can download it and install it in your computer, but you cannot able to modify the software. Okay, so that is free software. But open source uh, is the uh, is that you can change or modify the code as you wish. Okay, so here you can see that in contrast the you can see that however free softwares a concept developed by MIT computer science researchers in 1980s uh, it defines four conditions. Okay, so it gives you four freedoms, emphasizing the ability of the user to use and enjoy software as they see fit. In contrast, the OSS criteria, which is open source initiative developed a decade later, place more emphasis on modifying of softwares. So, so this free software is you cannot able to change or modify. Okay. So, but this open source is emphasized on modifying of the software and the consequence of altering software license and distribution. Obviously, the two overlaps. Some would say difference between OSS and free softwares are more philosophically than practical. However, neither should be confused with freeware. Freeware usually refers to a proprietary software that that user can download at no cost, but source code cannot be changed here. So this is freeware. So next is open source software and developers. So you can open source projects are collaboration opportunity collaboration opportunities that improve skills and build connection uh, in the field. Domains that developers can contribute to open source community includes communication tools, distributed revision control systems, bug tracking, and task list testing and debugging tools. So these are all the tools or fields that open source developers commonly involve in producing their products. So here you can see that here you can see that these are all the concepts. Okay, open source projects, single owner, multiple contributor, and so many users. So here multiple owners and multiple users use the OSS projects, and multiple vendors combine to form a OSS project and to give the multiple owners. This is known as copyright information. Okay, so how this open source software works. So a developer will compile program and create the source code and distribute to user or developer. So they will improve the source code and give it to the improved version in the World Wide Web. Vastly improved source code will be available on the internet. You can download it and use it in your computer. Okay, so this is the open source scenario. Okay, benefits of using open source software. So it is free of cost, it is easily available, and you can change whatever you need. And you can see that so many communities are there to support you in the field of open source softwares. So all these things are given below here, and these are all the examples of open source application software. uh, Already you have known everything. Okay, so next thing is open network stimulation tools. Okay, so ns2 is a network stimulation version 2 here in computer network. Network stimulation is a method whereby a software program models the models the activity of the network by calculating the communication between the different network objects such as routers, network nodes, switches, access points, links, etc. A network switch is a software. Network simulator is a software program that replicates the functions of the computer networks. In stimulators, computer network is typically demonstrated with devices, traffics, etc., and the performance are evaluated. Normally, user can then adapt the stimulator to accomplish their precise analysis needs. This the network parameters defines the state of the network. Okay, so whether it is transmitting data or link failure or node replacement, everything can be seen in this ns2 network simulation version 2 here. Okay, so this is open source software which is known as ns2, which is applicable for any network to monitor and replicate the network activity as it is. Okay, for research purposes. So you can download it and use it for free here. So next open source software is open nms. Okay, and open nms stands for network management system. So this is also a free and open source initiative grade network and network monitoring and management platform. It is established and maintained by a community of user developers and by the Open NMS group. Okay, it offers services, training, and support. The goal of Open NMS is to actually distribute scalable management application platform for features of fault configuration, accounting, performance, security of the network. Presently, they emphasize on fault and performance management. So it is general public license. Okay, you can download it and you can install it. Okay, with free of cost, and you can see that it also here you can see that the three main functions of the open nms is service monitoring, where a number of modules can govern its network basic services like ICMP, HTTP, DNS, etc. Data gathered by using SNMP and JMX. Event management and notification were comprises of alarm reduction and a reboot announcement system with with acceleration and duty scheduling. Okay, so these kind of activities can be done using this open NMS software. Okay, it is uh, it is also an open source. In this period of increased competition and and cybercrime, the computers used by individuals or business organizations may have spy hardwares or of revivals. So open source hardware technology keep helps in such threats. In this technology, we get the components of the hardware and its circuit diagram so that we can remove suspicious spyware if found. So this kind of open source hardware is available like remake, remanufacturing, redistribution, reselling, study, and learn. Okay, so this open source hardware, you can buy it uh, for the hardware and you can change it. Okay, if you doesn't need any of the components, you can remove it, and you can see that the circuit diagram of the hardware will be available, and if you want to add anything, you can add it. So this is known as open source hardware. So with this, we are finishing this chapter. We'll see the new chapter, which is e-commerce, in the next class. Thank you, students.